We're going to be talking about self-harm in this video. And I'm not going to age restrict this video because I feel like this is a safe and healthy place to discuss these sorts of things, but if it's not something you're comfortable with, you can leave this conversation now. That being said, I really want to talk about this because it's something that affects so many people. There are times where your mind is just racing with negative thoughts. And it feels relentless and it feels overwhelming and you don't know how to make the thought stop. And there's no real self-control or meditation that can just make it go away. It is a persistent problem. And then at some point in your life, you realize that pain kind of snaps you out of it. There's that sudden shock to the system, and it almost resets your brain, and it makes the thought stop, if only for a moment. And then what happens is the pain is so much less hurtful than those negative thoughts that you start intentionally inflicting pain on yourself because it's just easier. Listen to anybody talk about it. People will always say that physical pain is not as bad as emotional pain, and people just take that concept of they'd rather be hurt physically than emotionally, and they take it to an extreme and decide to just hurt themselves over and over and over again because the pain makes the bad thoughts stop. But there's something you gotta understand, that is not a healthy way to deal with your problems, even if it does provide genuine relief from the bad thoughts that haunt you. It is only a very temporary solution, and it does not address the core of what is wrong, and all you're doing is postponing dealing with your emotional pain, while at the same time inflicting physical pain upon yourself. It feels like it's helping, but it's not. All you are ultimately accomplishing is damaging yourself. And once you get comfortable damaging yourself, then your mind goes to some wild places about what more damaging things you can do to yourself to cause more pain, to make the bad thoughts stop. Once you go down that rabbit hole, once that starts to snowball, you're willing to do more and more hurtful things to yourself for more and more relief from the bad thoughts. And sometimes they pursue more and more painful things to get more and more relief, and sometimes they have to pursue more and more painful things because the pain stops providing the same amount of relief, and they have to hurt themselves more and more just to get the same amount of emotional relief. It is an addiction. It's not a chemical addiction like a drug. It is an emotional addiction to a distraction, because that's all it is a distraction. And if you're willing to damage yourself more and more and more to make the thought stop, it doesn't take long for the mind to come to the realization that if you hurt yourself enough, it'll all be over and those bad thoughts go away forever. It is not that long of a jump. And here's the thing, you might think that you're only hurting yourself when you do these things, but that's simply not true. The people around you, even if they don't show it in a way that you would like them to, even if they're not showing you the empathy and patience that you need them to, it does not mean that it does not affect them. When you do these things to yourself, it has consequences. And I want to show an example. I found this comment while searching on Reddit, and I really wanted to share it because it kind of highlights what I'm talking about. He's saying that a babysitter was taking care of him and his friend on New Year's Eve when he was in 4th grade. He had a new pocket knife and he was bragging about it. She said, "Oh, that's not sharp, it's just a toy. Watch." And then she made them watch as she cut deep gashes in her wrist. She bled everywhere. It got all over the carpet, the table, everywhere. And she just looked at them in the eye while she did it. No emotion, nothing. Then she just stuck her arms out and bled all over the place. After she got herself cleaned up, and it was all pale, she held the blade to his throat, and he goes on to say that he suppressed that memory for a long time, and I can't blame him. That's a horrifying thing to happen to someone. But that's the sort of thing that can happen if you allow yourself to pursue pain as a relief from the bad thoughts, because the bad thoughts don't go away, they just build. Because you're not dealing with them. People's desire for pain relief and their desire to cry for help, to scream for help, to beg for help, to put on these displays of pain in hopes that anyone will show them empathy, and they will never get it, because that is not how you get empathy. That is not how you get help. Displays of hurting yourself do not give you the help that you need. All they do is hurt people. You might not realize it because you probably don't think that anyone else cares about you. But when you do these horrible things to yourself, there's a chance that you are traumatizing the people around you, especially if the people around you are young. 4th grade is way too young to witness something like that, and it was only witnessed because the person doing it was so damaged emotionally that they had no self-control. Hurting yourself might feel like you are taking control of your emotions, but it is not. It is an act of losing control of your emotions. It is very easy for us to justify doing terrible things when we are in pain, but it is never justified. And I hope that you, little sister, if you have not started hurting yourself, that you do not start. And if you are hurting yourself, I want you to seek help. I don't want you to put on these harm displays for attention. I just want you to be open and honest with how you feel to the people around you. Honesty and openness with someone who cares about you is going to be so much more valuable than a knife could ever be. I don't want to see you get hurt. Please don't do it. Don't do it for me. Please.